Good evening, everyone. My name is Zon Eastis, and I'll call this meeting to order, the August 12th meeting of the regular meeting of the Select Board. So we'll start right. Welcome to everyone online. I just want to make sure, looking quickly, yeah, everyone, we can see your first and last names, good. And welcome everyone here in the room. All right, so we'll start with the rules of procedure.
Sure. The Select Board, as required by law, conducts meetings in accordance with Vermont Open Meeting Law 1 VSA 310 to 314, except as provided in Section 313 of that title. At these meetings, the public must be afforded a reasonable opportunity to give its opinion on matters considered by the Select Board, so long as order is maintained. Such public comment is subject to the reasonable rules established by the Chair of the Select Board, which is under 1 VSA 312H. And while the law clearly establishes the right of public participation, that right is not without its limits. The statute reads, at an open meeting, the public shall be given a reasonable opportunity to express its opinion on matters considered by the public body during the meeting, so long as order is maintained. That's the critical part. Public comment shall be subject to reasonable rules established by the chairperson. Simply put, the Vermont statutes are there to set a constructive and civil meeting.
Thank you, Chip.
You got it.
All right, so let's look at changes to the agenda order, and there are some changes. Since we published this agenda, we've discovered on 3 items that we need to. I need to get Select Board permission to postpone 3 items that are on the agenda. So let's look at them one by one. Old business, the Algiers Traffic Calming Committee demonstration project. We need to postpone that. We also need to postpone the internal office protocols policy process, and then we need to postpone the discussion and possible action around the hardwired office camera security system. That's 9B. So is the Select Board comfortable with postponing that? We will bring them up another time. They're just, since we published the agenda, there are some items that come up. We need to do more research on each of those. So
Sure.
So
yes.
Okay. All right. Good.
Excellent.
Good. All right. That's good. Okay, Tara. Okay. Good. All right, folks. Then we'll move right on to public comment. So, Michael, I'll ask you to get your clock out. We have 10 minutes, and see if there's any public announcements or public comment that anybody would like to make for the first 10 minutes. Each person will have 3 minutes to speak. Yes, identify yourself. Yeah.
Deborah McNeil, Sweet Pond Road. I know you just said that it was going to be postponed on the Algiers Traffic Calming Committee, but I was ready to give my question before you announced that. Is it still?
You can certainly give it.
I was wondering when potentially I had volunteered to count cars, which direction they're flowing. I'm sorry, not cars, people crossing. Is that going to go on to the next time for the postponement?
We'll take it up at that. Yeah, it won't be talked about this evening. So when we talk about it, we can take it then.
Okay.
May I say something?
Sure.
Well, I was just thinking that basically we're going to be gathering more information from stakeholders, and if you wanted to go and count pedestrians, that would be part of the information that would be useful.
So I could start soon then?
Well,
I can hand that off to the Select Board?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, just send it to us. That's great. Wonderful. Yes.
Tammy Sargent, Creamery Road. On the new policy with our public comment, we're obviously still doing that. It's hard with all the different agenda items. We don't really know what's being spoken about. And when you guys were first talking about doing this policy, it was asked by other people that if you want to speak on more than one topic, how much time are we allotted to speak? And I think you just said that we get 3 minutes. So at the community comment period, we each get 3 minutes. So we have to pack in that 3 minutes every topic we want to discuss that's on the agenda. Is that what you're saying?
Well, 3 minutes in the first section, and at the end of the meeting, we'd have 3 minutes more, perhaps, depending on how many hands are up and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, because that doesn't give anyone very much time. I'm just saying that's another reason why that new policy I don't think is very helpful.
Thank you. I see Ann Ryder's hand.
I just wanted to suggest, I'm not sure if it's too late, but those blinking light signs that you have reminding people, I thought you might put them up to remind people to vote, but it might be too late to instigate that at this point. So I just thought I'd mention that.
Yeah. Okay, well, maybe we can put that, yeah. Okay, thanks, Ann. All right.
I just have a question about.
Yeah, what's your name, please?
Oh, I'm sorry, Connie Burton, Weatherhead Hollow Road.
Thanks.
I just had a question about the postponement. Will that be postponed to another regular meeting, or do we need to watch for a
Yes.
special meeting?
Yeah.
A regular
I don't
meeting.
think, I think it'll be regular meeting.
Thank you.
Any further comments? Okay, folks, then we'll move right on to approval of the minutes. We have two sets of minutes we need to approve tonight. One is the regular meeting of July 22nd. Could I have a motion to approve those minutes? Veranda, is there a second? Second. Thank you, Michael. Is there any discussion about those minutes? All right, then we'll, let's see, I need to take a roll call. So Tara, where did she go? Oh, there she is. Can you turn that, can you unclick that bit so we can see her?
Can you see me?
And then also click Ann's hand. There we go. All right, Tara, are you willing to approve the minutes?
Aye.
Thank you. Chip?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
And Veranda?
Aye.
And Zana says aye. Thanks very kindly. Now we move ahead to the special meeting of July 26th. May I have a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Thanks, Chip. Is there a second? Second. Thank you, Michael. Any discussion? Thank you. Tara, are you willing to approve those minutes?
Aye.
Thank you, Chip.
Aye.
All right,
Aye.
Michael. All right, Veranda?
Aye.
Zana says aye. Thanks very much. All right, and then we'll move on to the warrants. Tara, are you prepared?
Yep. I would like to move to accept the warrants as written
I'll second.
for
Oops.
Oh, wait.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I thought I cut out.
week 7/28/24. It's $9,190.05. Week 8/4/24. $8,889.72. Week 8/11/24, $9,151.24. Warrant number 2503A for $9,625.03. Warrant number 2503B for $34,383.22. Warrant number 2502S for $3,000. The total is $74,239.26.
Now I will make that motion.
Second.
Second that motion, sorry.
Good. All right, Tara, is there any discussion you want to?
Yep, we had $1,700 around that for diesel. We had $5,436.92 for chloride. That keeps the dust down on the roads. $2,299.25 to K.E. Bergeron for the HVAC services at the town office. We had $4,527.60 for culverts. $3,428.50 for legal fees for the Heron suit at the Supreme Court, the oral argument. That officially brings the total for all suits to $50,034.60. The other warrant is for payments to the state for VMERS and property tax withheld from employees by request and the fish and wildlife payments. And then the $3,000 warrant is for checks for the Bullock Scholarship. Thank you. And there was 4 recipients this year. Thank you, Erica.
Thank you, Tara.
All right, is there any further discussion here at the board about any of this? Any
It's
questions?
just great that there were 4 scholarships this year
Yeah.
for the Bullock
Yeah,
Scholarship
nice.
Fund.
Very nice. Okay, so so then Tara, are you in favor of accepting those warrants?
Aye.
Thanks. Chip?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Miranda?
Aye.
Zana says aye. Thank you. All right, folks. Now we'll move on to updates and reports, and we have Erica's here. Do you have a report for us?
Just a moment.
Yeah, let's let some folks in.
You have to let people in, and then there's someone with an iPhone 2. If you could change your name to your first and last name.
Just, yeah. And I think there's still some more people up top. Yeah, Jeff Rose, actually. So, just to say it again, we need to see your first and last name on the screen for, that's required by open meeting law, so we can keep good records. Okay. All right. What have you got for your report?
What have I got for my report? Well, I didn't have a lot of time to put my report together, but I would like to report the good news that we're still working through all the legislation that passed on July 1st. So one of the things, it's called Act 181, and that means that we no longer need to do the every 8 years renewing of the designated village centers that we have. We have, in case somebody doesn't know, we have two. We have Algiers Village and Guilford Center Village, and they are officially designated as village centers and with the state, and we don't need to go through the thing where we write to the state every 8 years and say what's happening in the village and why it wanted to be designated in the first place, because it's basically always the same. So we can keep that designation without having to renew it every 8 years. So that's good. I have been helping, this is the first month that our commissions and committees have had to record their meetings, and they've all done a great job. I want to thank everybody for being so cooperative. And we've got the recordings that needed to be up on the website so far. Something has sort of sifted out of all this, and that is that even though the statute does not require the minutes, the statute doesn't require the recordings to be posted sooner than the minutes are approved. So if it's a commission that has a monthly meeting, after their next meeting, when the minutes of that meeting are approved, that's when the videos can go up. But in the interim time, that record still exists, and it can be subject to a public records request. So it will be my practice to try to post the videos whenever the draft minutes are posted, when that's possible. So that is 5 days after the meeting. So that's just something new, and I have been doing a few public records requests of various kinds this last few weeks. So that's all my report has.
Oh, could I ask a question?
Yeah.
Just about the posting of videos, is that going to do something to the town website? I mean, are we going to need sort of an auxiliary hard drive? I mean, I'm not really that up on all this. I just don't want an unintended consequence
Sure. Yeah,
be
it's
that
okay.
our website will freeze.
No, I am up on all this. We might possibly need a local hard drive to store them on longer than they're on the website, but Uriel helped me research. I have done some research myself, and it sort of seems like you have a lot of space on YouTube, which is currently what the town uses to host the videos. So they're not hosted on our website. And our web designer has cautioned against doing that because that would eat up a lot of bandwidth, a lot. But what we need to do is just save them on a hard drive here and then post them to YouTube, and eventually we can take them down.
And so if people wanted to see those recordings, they would just go to YouTube and say Guilford Cemetery Commission and the date or something?
Right now the links exist on the minutes of
Okay.
each meeting. That's where the video link is going to be.
All right, very good.
All right, do you have anything for Dan?
I do, yes. Dan stepped in today. He's doing a lot of good summertime stuff, grading and mowing and ditching. And he wanted you all to know that everybody except one person who was on vacation has completed and been certified in CPR. Everybody on the highway crew, so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's good. They went out to Halifax and took a course and now they're all certified.
Erica, did he mention whether we've had, I know we've had trees down that caused outages, and the power company came and did some cutting for trees that might fall on the power line as well, but I didn't know whether any of our roads have had significant washouts from the recent pounding rains.
No, he did not say anything specific.
Okay.
Yeah, we're doing on the stage road, that long stretch that goes right downhill. The ditching work is going to be this summer, so that should be improve that part that has washed out. I don't know about any other specific spots.
Right.
Great, thank you. All right, folks, we'll move then on to we have an update from the Planning Commission, so we want to bring your chair up?
Yes. Hi, Jeannette Tokarz, Ashworth Road. Thank you for having me here this evening. I'll try to give you a whirlwind update of what the Planning Commission is up to. Earlier this year, we completed our work with our strategic planning partner, Du Bois & King. So what I distributed to you earlier is our microscopic view of the goals, strategy, and action. I apologize for the small print. I had to shrink it to fit. When it's up on the website, which will hopefully be the next week or two, it'll be much more legible. And as background, what you see before you was really drawn from multiple sources, going way back to 2014, Vermont Council on Rural Development's Community Action Visit, prior town plans, Algiers Village Vision Plan, as well as different public events we held through the course of the strategic planning process. And our goal was to try to create some actionable steps that are a real impact and value to the town. And unlike the town plan, we tried to put this into 5 major goals. And within those goals have different strategies and actions. And what once you'll see this for yourselves on the website, you'll notice that this is not strictly a planning commission effort. Many people, many commissions are going to need to work together for us to achieve these goals. So in essence, we're really just getting started on getting the rubber to the road, so to speak. Already, with regards to goal 3, explore land use planning, the Planning Commission and the Conservation Commission have already had a joint meeting, and we'll have future ones, to really start to dig into the notion of the desire that's very strongly a through line through our town plan to preserve Guilford's character and engage in the community with discussions of what is that character, and then what ways do we see as a community to help create that legacy of preserving Guilford's character. So there's other work ahead. I will to toot our own horn. The business breakfast we had, the second one we had this past summer, the Brattleboro Development Corporation came, and they were so inspired by Guilford and Vernon working together that they really started to develop an initiative to try to get more regional kind of conversations. So this process has already led to some results, including the Guilford Guide, which is next on the agenda to talk about. So I'll stop there. Questions for me?
Are there any questions for Jeannette about the Planning Commission work?
That looks great.
Yeah.
The tenure that's over here, the horizon, is much more logical in color. It was really hard in some ways to kind of put things in a specific bucket. So those little numbers and diamonds are meant to try to capture the fact that these are interrelated topics.
I have a question about that, Jeannette. When and how will that be put up on the website.
You and I will have a conversation.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the final document. They haven't done the final edits on the report, but this is done.
This is part of the report.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
So the numbers correlate to what then?
The numbers correlate to the different goals. So
Oh, I
again,
see.
and it
Okay,
makes a
so
lot more
goal-
sense in color. But there's just trying to, in a kind of not so terrific way, but an awkward way, to show that these are interrelated, that to really
I gotcha.
artificially separate them out as awkward.
Yeah. So goal, like the strategy number 1 is also related to 1, 3, and 4.
Correct.
Gotcha. Cool. That's good.
Great.
And then the length of the bar is over the years, is trying to show when things might happen in the next 10 years.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. That's great.
Yeah, and a lot of these goals were a direct result of the visioning workshop held back in November. I think about 40 people came and had lots of, it was a long day and people stayed to the bitter end and had lots of feedback. It was great.
So when you look at expanding trail network, for example, and you see it kicks in what, halfway through, or is it year 3 and then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Yeah, so, and that's actually, I didn't want to go through and highlight everything, but there is a Trails Advisory Committee,
Right.
which took a hiatus over the summer because no one wants to be building
Yeah,
trails in
when
the
no,
summer.
I was just wondering how the number, is that what that was based on Zon's point, that that's when the
Yes.
timeline starts, so it's not really next year or the year after, it's
I think
between
that's going to be
years.
ongoing.
Okay, or any of them, like,
Yeah, I mean, some of this is kind of like
It's like
trying
a-
to,
whatever, on the support
Yeah.
community, whatever, action number 3 is a 4 and a 5, it's gonna be year 3, that 4 and 5, okay, got it.
yeah.
Okay,
We may not be that tight.
okay, cool, it's all right.
Yeah.
It's,
All right.
it's a picture.
It's a picture, it's an overview, Chip.
Right.
Gotcha.
It's, you know, I wouldn't want
It's
to
not a
like hold you to the
prescription,
fire
Right,
on this one.
exactly, it's not a script, it's an overview.
It's a suggestion.
Yes, perfect.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you very much for that
All right.
update. Then we'll go on to the next order of business, which is to begin looking at old business, topics that we discovered and experimented and explored prior. So we'll ask you to stand right here, Jeanette,
Yes.
and I think you're going to give us present a proposal for some already awarded ARPA dollars.
Yes.
And I'd like to just say that this is in preparation for work that we have the select board has a task force. I think it's Brandon and Michael that are going to be looking at the remaining ARPA dollars. And at our last meeting, we heard a proposal from Dan Ingold about using some of already awarded dollars to sort of reassign them in a certain way. So in that same vein, that's what we're listening to today. The select board's not going to be making this decision now, tonight, or anything like that. The select board's only hearing this proposal, and then the task force will take it from there and figure out how it goes forward, if it does.
Except that I have been, I think that I can't be on the task force to decide about ARPA dollars for the Guilford Guide because I've been on the planning committee to put out the Guilford Guide, and so I think it would be a conflict for me to try to decide whether it was a good idea after participating in its makeup.
All right, then I think probably what we'll do at another meeting, we'll talk about, we can talk about the makeup of the task force.
Okay.
Okay, won't take time now.
And early today, I'd sent out a document that I'm, with your permission, going to read just for the public. So the impetus to create a Guilford Guide has origins. I already mentioned the Vermont Council of Rural Development's visit in 2014. It listed a goal to provide welcome packages to folks who move to town. This goal was included in the next 2 iterations of the town plan. And there it kind of sat on paper, but not in reality, until the previously mentioned visioning workshop held in November. At that meeting, a group of residents spontaneously agreed to take on the task of creating a Guilford Guide, in part because there was a model in the town of Bethel's operator's manual. So I think seeing what other towns had done was a real light bulb moment for Guilford to think, hey, we can do this. So the Guilford Guide Group, of which Miranda is a participant, has been meeting since late 2023 and all through 2024. And they're nearing completion of their first stage of compiling, verifying, and organizing information that will serve as the content. They've worked in small groups to compile and corroborate information. And there's some of the areas that will be listed in the guide include town government, businesses, fire and safety, education and young families, community and social services, land and natural resources, food and agriculture, recreation, arts and culture. So a lot of topics, very comprehensive. As this phase is being completed, the volunteers are working with the design specialists to create an attractive hard copy guide and a digital format. The latter will be available on the town website. The current plan is to mail the guide to all Guilford residents this fall or winter and have hard copies available at various locations throughout Guilford, including the Guilford Free Library and the town office. It's anticipated that the hard copy will be a one-time only thing, but that the digital version will be updated regularly. So it will remain a valuable document going forward. To break down the cost, the volunteer time and effort has been all volunteer with no cost. It is anticipated that the design, layout time, and materials will come to about $2,800 over the next few months. Printing and mailing to each Guilford household will cost about $5,500. Print copies will be made available to real estate agents, to newcomers, to taxpayers in the town office, library, etc., wherever else we can think of having a hard copy where it would be useful. That would be about $1,700. And if you've been tallying along, you'll see the total's about $10,000. It's $10,000, not about $10,000. Proposal this evening is that when the ARPA committee awarded the Planning Commission $45,000 to conduct its strategic planning process. Of that allocation, $5,997 remains, and it's that amount that the Planning Commission is requesting be allocated to the Guilford Guide.
All right. Thank you. So again, we're not going to be making a decision on that tonight. That will go as a recommendation to the task force for their consideration.
Thank you.
Could I just add a little bit to that? I reached out to the other towns that had done their own guides, to Dummerston, Bethel, Middlesex, and had very interesting email conversations with people about whether it made a difference in their communities. And we got some really interesting and encouraging results. None of them had put the guide on their website, and when I had said that we were hoping to do that, that stimulated conversation with a couple of the other places that, you know, their guide had sort of been a dormant project, and they thought that it was such a good idea that they wanted to reinvigorate that guide. But it, especially to people who were newcomers in the town and people also who were just learning about the town for the first time. I mean, people, old timers who liked to see just their town displayed in that way, that it was very gratifying to them, and also, you know, newcomers as a welcome. So that was just some background that I gathered for it.
Thank you. Thank you for that. All right, thank you, Jeannette. So we'll pass this information, this proposal on to the task force, and we'll look forward to hearing from the task force at a future meeting. All right, now we'll move on to the next order of business, which is the Windham County Sheriff Services Contract report and recommendation from the advisory committee. You'll recall that at the last meeting, we had a report and a recommendation from two members of that advisory committee. There were several other people from the committee in the room, and there was ultimately a recommendation that Guilford not enter into any kind of contract with the sheriff. Maybe, I don't know if Chip or Tara want to offer anything, but what we're going to be doing tonight is considering whether or not we should accept that report and leave that amount at zero then in the budget this year.
Yeah, Gordon Little chaired that committee. It was a 7-person committee. They did a great job. It was Jared Bristol's idea to table it and not spend the money right now because feasibly and economically it can't be used the way it was presented at the original town meeting back in March. And instead, with an eye in the future, to try and get into more of a regional policing, and depending on how fast or how quickly that moves through the legislative process, you know, that $68,000 could still be a bonus. Just as a side note, if you looked at the front page of the Reformer today, Putney, which does contract with Windham County Sheriff, also just approved the regional policing. So I think, you know, as the sheriff, Mark Anderson might be onto something. So.
Tara, did you want to offer anything? Nope. Well, can't hear you, Tara. Sorry. Speak. Turn on. You're muted.
How about now?
Good.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on the same page with Chip in that we just need to hold off until we can get a better deal for the town.
All right. Is there any further discussion here at the select board? All right. Is there a motion that you'd like to make to accept it would be to accept the report?
I will so move.
All right. The report and recommendation.
The report and recommendation.
All right. I will second that. All right. And thank you I want to thank that committee, the advisory committee for doing its work, and thanks to Chip and Tara for liaising with them and making it work really well.
Well, I think also I wanted to add that, you know, our town meeting really wanted to support the well-being of 2 very loved people who were working for this town. And, you know, what we discovered was that there was more work to be done. So this is an interesting version of that process.
Yeah. So I think that what I would say is I understand the budgeting processes and so forth is that there was a question about could we take it out of the budget this year? No, we can't. The budget has been already approved by the town. We can't go back, and select board doesn't have authority to adjust the budget or anything like that. So it will just simply not be spent is the way that will work. So.
And a note on that, Zon, is that there's $68,000 that can be used for something else that the town may need and not be charged again. You know, the taxpayers, if something else comes up, the money's there.
Yeah. Yes. Or it's I think that the important thing to note here is that by our budget process and by our policies and by the way budgeting is done, we cannot earmark those dollars for any specific purpose. However, we can consider we can later, if something comes up that we need to use the money for, then we can consider it at that time. Yeah. Okay, so let's take a vote. Are you willing to, Tara, accept the recommendation?
Aye.
All right, Chip?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Brenda?
Aye.
Aye also. So thank you very much. That's approved. All right, then we're going to pass over the next 2 pieces of business. Those are being postponed to a next meeting, a further meeting. So we'll move on to E, which is the Algiers Fire District. Number 1, the Prudential Committee. What we're doing here is there's been a request that's come to us from Ellie, our town treasurer, that we form a task force, the select board form a task force to help her investigate and explore the issues that are persistent issues around the Algiers Fire District and see if we can come up with a solution that will move us into a better position. There are a number of issues that need to be looked at, Ellie's done a lot of research about what might be possible from a statutory point of view, and we need to, this evening, I would recommend that we need to appoint a task force of 2 select board members to begin assisting Ellie in that process. So in order, I would like to move, I won't move it right now because I need to find out who would serve on the committee. I'm happy to, I've already offered to do that, to serve on the task force, but we need 1 other select board member to join me and Ellie on that process.
Normally I would be interested, but I, in this situation, should recuse myself.
Well, I can do that. Maybe no, I'm only joking. I had a moment of levity for which I ask forgiveness. I can do that. I mean, I've gone to some of the Prudential Committee meetings and I feel as if I'd like to help out.
Okay. All right, so then, thank you, Brenda. So then in that case, I will move that the select board appoint a task force of Zahn and Veranda to work with Ellie on finding a workable solution or a standing for the Algiers Fire District #1. Is there a second for that?
I'll second.
Thanks, Jim. Okay, we got 2 seconds. Great. Any further discussion about that? Okay. And just for the community, so we know, we don't know exactly what's going to happen yet. That's part of this process. There are a number of possibilities out there, and a number of things are being researched and looked at. But we know that the current situation with the Prudential Committee and with our relationship to it does not work and has not worked for years. So we're setting about trying to find a better situation by which we can make this more work for everyone. So that's the work that we'll be going about. So you'll be hearing about this as we go along and have opportunities for comment and engagement.
And it's incredibly complex.
It's very complex.
Really, I looked into it with Ellie, and so you didn't hear my name going, I'll do it. Because it is layers and layers and layers deep.
Yeah, and it's many years in the making.
Many years in the making.
Hopefully we can, we'll give it a try. See how we do.
I know, and Herb Meyer, it's just nice to honor some of the people who have really been so, I mean, our town has relied on them so much. And Herb Meyer was such an anchor for that, for everything having to do with the Algiers Fire District, and so it's nice to just remember him.
Okay, thank you. All right, so let's take a vote now. So Tara, are you willing to approve this task force?
Aye.
Chip?
Aye.
Michael?
I'll abstain.
You'll abstain, okay. All right, Brenda?
Aye.
And Zahn says aye. Thanks very much. Okay, so that passed with 4 ayes and 1 abstention, just to be clear. All right, folks, then we'll move on to the emergency management question, which we looked at before, that we got at our last meeting. We got a proposal to do generator repair at the community church. And Dan was here to talk with us about that. So I think we just need to see if we can move it forward. As I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, Erica, but I think that it's all budgeted. It's not anything unusual or out of the ordinary. It's just that we need to see it and remark on it in this way. So is there a motion to approve this?
I'll make that motion. Go ahead.
All right,
Yeah.
Chip.
I'll second.
Second, thanks, Michael. Is there any further discussion of the select board? Simple one. All right, good. All right, then let's take a vote, please. So all in favor, or no, not all in favor. Tara, are you in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Chip?
Aye.
And Michael?
Aye.
Veranda?
Aye.
And Zahn says aye. Thanks very much. Okay, now, moving on to
Thanks, Dan.
You're welcome.
Oh, thanks, Dan.
That was easy.
Yeah, nice to see you.
I'll make it happen.
Yeah. Moving on to point G, it's a memo about benefits for the town clerk. This is this has been a subject that we have talked about in the past, both in the public and in executive session. And tonight we have a letter that we could approve, which we would send to Danielle. So Tara, I think that was you want to take it from here?
Yes, I do. There's one part I'd like to amend. I'd like to make a motion to amend. And it's just one word. So do you want me to read it and then I make the motion?
Yes.
Okay. This is the agreement to provide benefits to the town clerk. It says, "Dear Danielle, as you are aware, Guilford..."
Can you tell Fred to keep it down?
God, how does this happen? You know, I'll read it. I'll read it out loud while she's dealing with her dogs, and then we can get back to the word. Dear Danielle, as you are aware, the Guilford Town Clerk position is an elected position. As such, the town clerk is not a town employee and therefore does not receive benefits except by separate agreement with the Select Board. The Select Board has agreed to provide you benefits through fiscal year 2025 with the requirement that you are subject to certain sections of the personnel policy. Specifically, you will be subject to the personnel policy with the exception of sections 12, 19, 20 through 30, and 34. The Select Board reserves the right to determine whether it will continue to provide you benefits during fiscal year 2026. Please contact us should you have any questions. Sorry, Tara, I wanted to read it while you were doing that, so go ahead now. Now, yes?
Yeah, turn it up a little.
Okay. You can hear
Yes.
me?
Yes.
Sorry. So I'm on vacation and my nephew just freaked my dogs out. So what I wanted to say, I'd like to make a motion to amend the bottom. One word. Okay?
All right, so tell us what that is.
Okay, so the last paragraph says the Select Board reserves the right to determine whether it will continue to provide you with benefits during fiscal year 2026. I think that it should read the Select Board reserves the right to reassess and determine
Let's see.
whether it will continue to provide you with benefits during fiscal year 2026. So we're just adding the word reassess. Oh, and it says, please contact me should you have any questions. I think it should say, please contact us should you have any questions.
Yeah, okay, I did read that as us, yeah. Okay. All right. So we need to do a couple of things here, I think, looking at this. We'll have discussion in a second, but we need to accept this amendment. We also need to authorize one Select Board member to sign this letter, all right? And then we could all sign it, but it also can work if one Select Board member is authorized to do it. And in this case, because it's a letter like this, it seems one signature is fine. Let's first look at, actually, Tara, why don't you make a motion to adjust the letter as you propose?
I would like to make a motion to adjust and amend the letter as I proposed.
Okay, can you say that? Then read the sentence you'd like it to be.
The Select Board reserves the right to reassess and determine whether it will continue to provide you benefits during fiscal year 2026. Please contact us should you have any questions. But now you said if one Select Board member is signing it, which I would be happy to do, we could keep it, please contact me.
Okay. All right, let's leave that. Let's leave that one as me, all right? Is there a second for that?
I would second that.
Thank you, Brenda. All right, is there any discussion about that amendment? Everybody comfortable with the reassess and determine? Everybody? All right, so anybody have anything they want to say about that? Okay, thank you. So let's vote on that. And that would be to make this amendment. So Tara, you're obviously willing to make the amendment, but we need to hear it.
Aye.
Thank you. Chip.
Aye.
All right, Michael.
Aye.
Brenda.
Aye.
And Zan says aye. Okay, good. And then let's go ahead and approve the letter. So we need a motion to approve the letter as it stands.
I so move.
All right, thank you. Is there
I
a
second
second?
that.
Thanks. We'll take Michael's second. All right. Is there any discussion about the letter itself? All right. I would just like to say for everyone in the room, everyone online, that we're doing this in accordance with statute. Okay. The way that benefits are accorded to elected officials all across Vermont is through particular agreements. And up until now, in our work, Danielle has not been willing to sign an agreement with us. So that separate agreement does not exist with pleasure between the parties, and that's fine. That's okay. Nonetheless, the select board has the complete statutory right to extend a letter like this, any select board does, to its elected official, just to clarify what the situation is, which is supported by statute. We're not making this up. This isn't something we want to do. This is the relationship that's designed in statute. So we're just acknowledging it, and so we can move forward. All right, so let's take a vote on this letter. So Tara.
Aye.
Chip.
Aye.
Michael.
Aye.
Miranda.
Aye.
And Zon says aye. All right, thank you. Now, one more, please. We need to authorize a signer for the letter. I will move that we authorize Tara to sign this letter.
I'll second that.
All right. So is there any discussion about that? I know what I'd said earlier, but we'll go with this, okay? All right. Okay, so let's have a vote for that. So Tara, you willing to sign the letter?
Yes, aye.
All right, Chip?
Aye,
All right, Mike?
Aye.
Miranda?
Aye.
And Zon says aye. Okay, thanks very much. All right, folks, that's all the old business. Now we'll move on to new business, and we're, is Kate online?
Kate Kirkwood, are you here online?
There might be, she might be on page 2. Click this, that triangle there. Oh wow, something's happened.
Have we frozen?
No, just the person that we're expecting to talk with now is not here. I don't think. Kate Kirkwood, are you here? Huh. Okay, so we'll have to move this then to another moment. Something's happened, I guess. We'll go on to, we'll postpone that one as well, folks, because she's not here.
And that is it.
Okay. All right, then we'll move on to other business on the agenda, which I think there is none. I do want to acknowledge in correspondence that we have 2 correspondences. I want to acknowledge that each select board member received a 2-page unsigned letter. The return address does not indicate anything about where the letter is from. It says Town of Guilford, as if it's an official letter. And so this letter could easily have come from Nebraska or Nevada. We don't know where it's from. It's not owned by anyone in the town. So the select board will not take it up as a correspondence. We reserve the right to speak with our public when the public is willing to put their name on a document and talk with us about it. So since this is unsigned, we won't be addressing it. All right, then there's a second correspondence which came today. I'm going to turn. It didn't come to me.
Oh, I didn't get it either.
That's the one from Danielle.
Oh, on the cameras?
Yeah, a number of things. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody got that, right?
I did not.
Oh, you did. Okay,
Yeah, so-
I wasn't aware of that.
So where is it? Sorry. So what we need to do here is just characterize it and characterize it so the public knows that we received this letter, or that most of us received it.
Yeah.
And that we'll respond to Danielle.
Yeah, she had raised some, I think, salient points that need to be reviewed before we proceed with the camera thing.
Okay.
I think they all have easily, accessible answers. It's not a stretch. It's just more of a clarification for information rather than an objection.
Okay. All right, good. All right, thank you. All right, folks, now we'll move into public comment. We have 15 minutes for public comment. So anyone who has anything that they'd like to say about the agenda items tonight, we reserve the right, of course, that if a topic comes up that's not on the agenda, by open meeting law, we're not really allowed to talk about it. So we'll listen, and the select board will be listening tonight and not responding. So is there anything anybody would like to say? See, I recognize here. Connie?
Connie Burton, Weather at Hollow Road. I just want to revisit I think it was $68,000 that was voted in to be used for law enforcement, if that's what we wanted. Now, if that money is not used this year, does that, what I understand from, well, I think this is the case, that when there's money left in a fund that's been budgeted at the end, by the end of the year, if there's still money in it, it goes into a reserve fund? Is that what will happen with this money, or will this be kept separate and not put into the reserve fund?
Okay. I will, I'm gonna, the quick answer is any dollars that, if there's a surplus at the end of the year, after the accountant has looked at everything and done everything in order, the surplus dollars are then moved into the reserve.
And
so
you think that that's what will happen with this as well, even though it's not the normal surplus?
It's part of the budget. It's part of the budget, general operating budget. Yeah, I don't really know. So this is my understanding of how the budgeting process works. And if there needs to be something else, we'll let you know. But I think that's how it works. All right.
Steve Lemke, River Road. I'm a little less conciliatory than the board is when you get a letter that says Town of Guilford, Vermont. When I got this on Saturday, addressed only to me at my home address, it was postmarked in Manchester, New Hampshire, on the 8th of August. And inside it is a 5-page letter, which is mostly about the town clerk. So maybe it's totally unsigned, no attribution. So maybe I should have a conversation with Danielle to say, Danielle, did you send this? Because 7 out of the 10 paragraphs are all about the town clerk's situation with vaults and things like that. So for me, I find it disconcerting that anybody, any place, can just take a letter and put Town of Guilford, Vermont on it, and suck me into opening it up like it's something official from the town, and find this that is totally a vote for this person or that person situation, because the last pages are all the ways to vote tomorrow. Okay? So I'll ask Danielle myself to say, if this is all about you, did you send it? And I can almost guess what her answer will be. But the other thing is, to have this kind of charade going on, where nothing's assigned, nobody has the nerve to stand up and say, this is what we're feeling, this is what we're doing. Mail it from New Hampshire, I find really irritating, among a whole lot of other adjectives that I could give to it, okay? But I just want people to know, this is the kind of thing that's going on, that there's just negative in this letter about these issues. And if you want to see it, somebody, I mean, I know other people in town got it. Why I got it and other people didn't get it, I can only surmise, and I have a theory on it, but that I'm not sharing tonight. But I'm going to do a little more research and see what I can find out, because I don't think anybody should be able to take the Guilford town sort of website or return address at Town of Guilford and summarily send this junk to people with no attribution. If you're going to send this junk, stand up and say who you are.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Is there any other?
Can I follow up with that? Deborah McNeil, Sweet Pond Road. Is there any, do we know how many people got a letter like that? Did the select board get a letter like that?
No.
But you said other people got a letter like that?
Yeah, we're not going to have a conversation here.
I'm just wondering if it's
I know you're just wondering, but we're not going to have a conversation.
If it was directed.
Whether any one other person got this or not, I got it. And I find this way of sending this to me, forget about anybody else, sending this to me under this guise is more of the charade that's going on in this town day after day, week after week, month after month.
I will just say that the letter that the select board got, which is a different letter than that, is identified in exactly the same way as the letter Steve got. So there's very strong evidence that it's the same.
Where was the postmark on that?
This postmark is White River Junction.
Right, and this was New Hampshire.
So there's,
no, I'm just curious.
There's every evidence that the same people are doing both of these.
It's not even mailed from here.
No.
So drive as far as you can in your car, find some post office someplace, dump them, and then run away again.
I'm not, sorry.
That's the end of my point.
Okay, all right, we'll move ahead. Are there any other
I was
comments?
curious too, because you said you had a 5-page and you just said the same thing.
It's a
about
different
the 2
letter.
page. That's what I was trying to
Totally a different
understand. I
letter.
I'm hearing what you're saying. I'm just trying to understand
Yeah.
exactly what's, anyways.
All right,
I
okay, folks.
I did have one quick
Okay,
question.
yeah.
Under the correspondence, you said you'd only received the 2 letters, but I was under the impression that you had received correspondence from Doug Richmond on the Algiers traffic.
I don't think.
I did.
No.
personally.
I don't
It
think
wasn't
the
So
the rest
when
of the
you
whole select
receive
board.
correspondence,
I
it
did.
doesn't become part of the correspondence?
That's correct.
In order for it to achieve correspondence, how does it have to?
Has to be addressed to the select board.
Select board.
Okay, so each individual select board member
Or to the
has to.
select board, or to
Or
the
what?
select board, to the select board or to all 5 of us.
Okay, I just was told that a letter had been sent to the town. so
Many
I
things come,
assume-
many letters come every day that she opens.
So
that
if
are-
it's
that are-
not
yeah,
directed
yeah,
directly
we
to
don't
the
see
select
most
board.
of them, yes.
Got it.
Yes.
Sarah, Coffee Fitzroad. I'm just curious about the discussion and the decision about the law enforcement for Guilford. Are there, and forgive me if I should already know this, but were there meetings and minutes from those meetings about how the board is, and those are on the Guilford?
I don't,
Yes, so
there-
it was a subcommittee of the select board.
There was
and
a
so
7-person.
They exist on the page of the website.
Yeah, so there's a 7-person committee and recommendations.
Yeah, and I know there's a lot of outreach in town collecting, but
Yeah.
I just wanted to see if they collected enough input, because I'll just say, I heard in my role as the state rep, a lot of concerns in town about a lack of law enforcement, and we used to have a contract, and we haven't for a few years, so I would just kind of surprised that it's like, a town meeting, the discussion was robust and rich, and like having the 68,000 was to give the group wiggle room to look at different options. So I guess as a member of the community, I'm just surprised that it's 0. Considering
maybe the thing to do, just quickly to say, is that they presented their report at the last meeting.
yeah.
So
So
you might
that's
wanna-
what, and I would if that report is
It's
written,
available. It's
Yeah.
written in, I think there's a video of it if you want to watch it.
great.
Yeah, and all they talk through all the steps of why they were getting to 0.
And it didn't close out the possibility of joining an effort later, Sarah.
I'm Jeannette Tokarz, Weatherhead, Ashworth Road, tell me Weatherhead Holland. I'm disturbed by a letter being sent out, that attribution that this town of Guilford is return address. That seems like a violation of the standards of a public employee, if it is indeed a public employee who sent that out. I hope that select board will make whatever efforts they can to try to understand who sent the letters and give them appropriate counsel. It feels like abuse of the privilege of the town to put that return address. It feels very underhanded.
If indeed it was a,
Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
And so it shouldn't be casting aspersion without more knowledge, but it is quite concerning that someone would list the town of Guilford. It seems like a deliberate attempt to misdirect and confuse.
Yeah. I just want to feel the same way. Okay, folks, thank you very much. We'll move ahead then. I will list now the actions from our previous meeting. There were 4. We approved the minutes of July 3rd and July 8th. We approved the warrants. We accepted MT3's bid for ditching work on Stage Road, and we authorized 4 non-employee work agreements with Installer Cleaning Services, DJ's Truck Service and Repair, Anson Baldwin Tree Care, and Mary Jo Gaines. All right, the actions that we took this evening are: we approved 2 sets of minutes, we approved the warrants, we approved the Windham County Sheriff Services Contract Committee's report and recommendation. We approved a letter to be sent to Danielle Latulip, the town clerk, describing the select board's understanding of our relationship. That's
The
all.
Algiers Fire District Task Force.
Oh, yes, thank you. And we appointed the Algiers Fire District Task Force.
And let's see, and the generator for.
Oh, gosh, I really am missing it, aren't I? Thanks.
You're
Thank you very
fine.
much. The emergency management generator repair at the community church was also approved, as spoken to us at the last meeting, yeah. Okay. All right. So then the next action to be taken is I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'm going to make the motion to adjourn. I
Thank
make
you.
a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? Michael, all right.
Oh, I wanted to say something before we adjourned. Tomorrow is our primary election, and I know a lot of people have worked very hard. You know, the candidates, they're the people who have been on the Board of Civil Authority, and the volunteers who will come and help with the election. And I've always felt, since I first moved to Guilford, that our elections are kind of a sacred act for our town. And I just hope that we can conduct this election that we all have confidence in, with that spirit that we're all neighbors here and we all deserve each other's support, friendship, and even joy together.
All right, so approving the adjournment. Tara?
Aye.
Chip?
Have a great vacation. Aye.
Michael? Miranda?
Aye.
And Zan says aye. Thank you. This meeting is adjourned. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thanks all.